Welcome back to Terpy, back with another weekly video for the channel. Currently I'm in the commercial facility. I'm just over here starting the video off as I do need to get a few pieces of equipment from here before we head over to the tester room at a different location where we're going to be setting up all the lighting system, the humidifier, and then maybe we'll get to the irrigation system for that space. All in this video. So we're gonna head over to the dry room because I need to borrow 2 humidifiers out of this facility because we're waiting on a couple of humidifiers in the mail, so it's just easier to take the ones out of here first and then move them over to the 6 light tester room to get that room started while we wait for the shipment to arrive. I have brought over 6 bales of these cocoa bags behind me to that space also, so we'll be using 6-liter bags per plant, just like we do in the commercial facility. So we're over here in the trimming room, which will have the twister trimmers in here eventually. But for now, this is the last room that will be getting utilized. So we have the longest time frame to get these humidifiers off the wall and moved over to the tester room. So we got 2 in this room, which we'll utilize. I was going to set you guys up on the tripod to give you a time lapse of taking these down, but unfortunately the GoPro is out of battery. So I'll just update you once I get them off the wall, and then we'll head over to the 6 light tester room. Okay, quick update. We got the 2 humidifiers taken down along with the installation kits because we never fully installed these 2. So we got everything involved to hook those up at the new location, along with some miscellaneous items in here like our par meter and a couple other tools that we'll need at the new space. Okay, so we're over in the 6 light room now. Sorry about the noise, it's still pretty echoey in here. I will work on getting a mic for cameras, so my audio quality does go up a little bit in the future, but currently we're focused on building the rooms and getting plants going again. Here are a few of the items that we have on deck ready to go. Obviously the humidifier that we brought over from the commercial facility. This is just a no-name, off-branded humidifier that's wall mounted off of Alibaba. So do what you want with that information. I see a lot of companies in the US just rebranding these, putting their logo on the front of these and selling them for quite a high price. These do work fine. I ran them in the commercial facility with no issues for both rooms, so they work pretty well. So I see no problem putting them in this grow room. We're gonna mount it up there right on the wall. Along with the grow tent room, we're gonna mount the second one upstairs. I think one will be enough in here, no problem, given the humidity in Thailand is pretty high anyways. So there won't be many situations where we need this to be on, but just in case you do wanna have it, like when we have small clones and it's a really hot day out, the AC is running quite a bit more often than normal, so it lowers the humidity every time the AC goes on. So to help with that, we do have our CO2 controller, 2 regulators here for the CO2 tanks. So that situation's all set up. We got our humidity controllers here. We got 2 of those, as we will have 2 heaters connected to these to control the humidity in the space. We won't have any dehumidifiers. We're using the heater combined with the AC to dehumidify the room. We'll go over that in more detail in the future. We'll be running one of them during lights on, and then while the lights are off, we use both heaters. Then we got all of our RO fittings, straights, T's, 90s. We got our float valves here for each of the reservoirs, and then our irrigation, the air valve here, and then the fittings so we can have our loop going around the table for the automated drip irrigation on all the plants here. We have our concrete bit here. Since all the walls in here are concrete, we will have to use the plastic plugs and then screws to mount the humidifier on the wall. So that's just an overall look at what I plan on getting done over the next couple days, along with installing all the LED lights both above the canopy and the under canopy lights facing up. We still do need to buy a new door to replace this, but out in the hall we have all of our flexstar under canopy lights. Sorry, the light's not on out here, so I'll turn that on for you guys. And then we have 6 720 watt pro LED lights from Flexstar. And then for our cloning and vegetative stages, we have their clone lights over here, 18 watts per strip. We got a bunch of those, so we'll set up the clone racks and the pre-veg racks before the plants get moved into here. So we have a full setup from Flexstar in here. Last thing that we will be going over Next, after we install the humidifier, as it is a constant feed humidifier, so you need to have a water line going to it. So here's our irrigation room. We'll have the 3 reservoirs, which I've explained before. We will need to be installing this RO system. Our feed is right here. So all we'll need to do is add a little fitting in here, then have a line going from there to our filter system. And then we'll run the RO line around the floor around here all the way. It'll tee off into each reservoir, so each one has its own float valve on these, so they stay filled when we want, along with a shut off at the back of each of these tanks. The line will continue, come up the wall, around, back into the room, and then I already set up where the humidifier is gonna go up there. I just need to drill the holes. So I ended up getting the humidifier installed behind me, but we did have a couple issues. The drill bit that I purchased was a bit too big for the plugs I was using for the screws. So the first set of holes I did drill in, but I ended up hitting rebar as these walls are concrete. So one of the holes was directly on rebar, so it wasn't able to go deep enough. So I had to re-drill those holes a little bit off to the side and up a bit, so that the 2 holes were able to have the plugs inserted fully. And then the other issue I had was the drill bit was a bit too big for the plugs. So when I went to screw the screws into the plugs, they just spun. So I had to use some construction adhesive inside the hole, put the plastic plug in, screwed the screw back in, and then overnight we'll wait for the construction adhesive to dry up for it to be fully secured in there. Other than that, we do have it up. I did hook up the drain lines over here, so I'll give you a closer look at that. Here is the close-up of the water lines. This will be the water inlet, which will come from our reverse osmosis system. You don't want to use tap water in a humidifier, as the moisture that comes out of the humidifier might have some calcium in it, and then you'll end up with an entire room with white powder all over everything, which is a terrible sign, and even worse when it gets on your plants. So always use reverse osmosis in your humidifiers. If you don't have that, then you can use distilled water. Those are the 2 options. So with this humidifier, it is analog, which you want on any humidifier that you buy in a grow room. That way, when you do have it hooked up on a controller, like this one will be, because we do need different humidity settings for daytime and nighttime, we can have this set to 100% all the time, and then our controller would be determined on when it goes on and off to adjust our humidity in the room. With a digital humidifier, when your unit gets turned off and then turned back on, it needs to be fully reset again. So you're not able to fully control it as you would like in a grow room. You would pretty much have to just set it on one setting and be happy with that for day and night. And then if you do have a power failure in your room, even if the power goes off and on for a split second, your humidifier is out of commission until you come into the room and reset it. So that's one issue when you do have a digital humidifier. I always go with the analog, either for both the humidifier and the heaters that I use in my room. Back to the water lines, here is the overflow. So if our tank inside here ever gets too full, the overflow goes out this line and down, and then we have it going into our irrigation room. This lower section right here is for our clean out or water drain system. It does have a valve there where we can close it, and then anytime we want to drain the water in here and give it a clean, we can easily turn that ball valve, let all the water drain, and then we can clean the system. Very simple setup. Some people asked in my previous rooms why I mount them so high. I think that is best to have it high because once the moisture comes out of the humidifier, it's the highest point in the room. That way it has the most chance of dispersing evenly across the room before it touches your plants. If you made this lower and then it came out at this level, it would be going directly on these buds, which would be actually higher humidity than what your sensors read. So you really want to have it as far away from your plant so it gives it the most chance of spreading out, combining with all the air in the room before it gets to your plants. So our next task will be moving into here. We'll give it a clean out before we hook up the reverse osmosis system, as we do need access along all these walls to run the lines. Currently, I just have this drain line from the humidifier just right to here until we get this cleaned out and fully adjusted. Okay, so I got all the plumbing done for the humidifier and I have tested it. One issue that I am seeing with this humidifier, and maybe its placement, I'm not too sure if this will happen if I change the location, but the mist is coming out of the humidifier, going across the ceiling, across the room, above all the lights on the top of the racks. But then because the AC is on, it's getting sucked directly into the 3-ton AC system, which is making the air conditioning system think that the hotter, moist air coming out of the humidifier, going directly into there, is thinking the room is too hot. And the air conditioning is coming on, which is overcooling the room. I've had it shut off for a while now, and you can see it's down to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. It was down to 70 degrees Fahrenheit when I had the humidifier on, testing the relative humidity in the room, trying to get it up to 80% relative humidity. This was generating humidity in the room, it was just getting sucked directly into the AC system and then overcooled the room. So I turned on the fan a little bit higher and it seemed to help a tiny bit more by diverting the very humid air away from the AC system, but it still overcooled the room. So I'm thinking maybe once the lights are all installed and that there's some stuff in the way of the AC system, that it won't go directly into there. And with the fans on higher speed, once there's plants in here, maybe that will help also. And I don't have the fans located on the walls yet or under the tables, so there will be much more airflow once we have everything set up. But currently, the way it is installed here with the AC over there, it's not working to our liking currently. So we will have to test that in again once everything's fully done. But as for the plumbing, we have the feed line coming in now. It just diverts around here, goes around behind our reservoirs, 90-degree around the corner, behind the toilet, and then into our reverse osmosis system here. Got everything hooked up. The feed line goes through this brick wall and then into the water line right there. Nice and easy, simple install. This is a 75 gallon per day reverse osmosis system. And then the runoff is going straight into the floor drain right there. So pretty simple setup. We just got to see if anybody's using this toilet that they are very aware of this line. It is very easy to move, so that's okay. It won't break or anything, but we do want to keep it in the drain so it doesn't become wet here all the time. Overall clean setup. I will put some P-clips on this line to keep it out against the wall. I have not yet teed off the line behind these reservoirs yet. We'll have a tee for each of these 3 reservoirs, and then we'll have a float valve on each of them. I just realized the float valves that I did purchase, I purchased 5 of these right here. It is missing the end to put the tube in, so I had to order those separately. These are supposed to come with it, but apparently somebody took it out of these 5 units. The listing online does show the picture, and all the other customers that purchased these did come with it. So I don't know why mine were missing it, but we bought them separately. They'll be here in a couple days, and then we'll get that fully completed. Okay, so after getting the humidifier installed, we're gonna move on to the cloning rack / early veg rack, where we have flexstar cloning bars for lights, which each bar is 18 watts, and they'll be installing them onto a wire racking system. So I got the cloning rack completely cleared out. I had some tools on here while I was working in here installing all the benches and irrigation system, but this is a wire rack. It is 4 shelves, but we'll be using 3 of them with plants on it, and the one above it will be holding the lights. So currently we just have these no-name LED lights on here. They aren't very powerful. Even at this distance from the plants, only like an inch or 2 away from the plants, you're only getting 100 ppfd at the tops of the clones. So these aren't doing it, but we'll be using 3 of these bars per row, and they are much higher quality. And you can see the cover on here on the LEDs are clear, so we'll get better light dispersion to the plants. These are from flexstar, so big shout out to them for providing these for this room. We have 5 boxes here, which is a total of 10 lights. Each of these are 18 watts. In one box, it does come with a power cord, and each of the lights has an input and an output. So this side would be output with a specific end on it, and then the other side is an input. So you can easily daisy chain all of these together. So for us, we'll be not daisy chaining each shelf to each other. Each one will have its own power cord, and then we have a power bar up here, which will be connected to our plug here with a timer. So these will be on 18 hours on and 6 hours off. So let me set you on the time lapse so we can install these 9 lights here. One thing I wanted to add in here is these brackets that each box comes with. These are specific lights where they clip into the right hand section, and then this top flat area clips perfectly into a wire mesh. So there you put one here and one down here, and then the light gets pushed up in here and pressure fitted, so it won't be moving anywhere. I'll give you a closer look once I have them all installed. Okay, so we finished getting the 3 bars per shelf installed, 18 watts each. You can see how they daisy chain like this. One is connected to the next, and then down there, this one's connected to that, and then it goes to here. We will be setting up a second shelf of this upstairs in the grow tent room, but this one will be utilized in here for early veg or seedling starts that will be featured in this room. Overall, a very clean setup. You can see that each shelf is very sturdy, and then I have each power cord going to a power bar up here. That way, if one of these shelves isn't being utilized, I can unplug this one plug, and it is connected to a timer set to 18 hours on and 6 hours off. So let's jump into installing the flexstar 720 watt lights in here. There will be 6 of them above the tables. Okay, so we got these 6 flexstar 720 watt pro LED lights installed. They are each daisy chained to each each other in this row. So this is one channel, and then that's the second channel. We will have the wires coming over to here where we'll be mounting the control box to control both the lights above and the under canopy lights down here. Both are from FlexStar, 2 per light, so 6 of them in each row to accommodate each light. So one light will get 2 under canopy lights. This is a great setup that I've run in a grow tent. So now we're gonna see it on a little bit higher of a scale in terms of size and the results we get from all of this. I think this room is perfectly sized with the walkways between the benches and on the walls, along with being able to move these benches to each side so we have ample room to work on the plants anytime we need to get into a certain space. I don't have the lights on right now because I don't have the controller set up, and at 100% power with these both on is quite crazy in here, and I don't have my grow glasses to wear right now, so we're just gonna have to do the video. Well, I hope you guys liked this week's video of building out this grow room a little bit more. Kind of getting a quick look at what next week's video has in store with those cocoa pots with the seeds already transplanted into there. Again, I want to give a big shout out to the companies involved in this grow space. So far you've seen FlexStar lighting. Next week you'll see vivosun with all the fans and filters that we're going to be incorporating into here. Blem Genetics, which is the stomp berries that we'll be growing, along with Front Row Egg Nutrients, which is supplying all the food for the plants that we'll be growing. And then last but not least, Pulse, which will be all the environmental monitors for both the environment above the plants, around them, along with inside the growing media with their Pulse hub connected to the moisture content sensors for the growing media. So the next update I'll give you guys is when I return back in 4 or 5 days. So we should see a bunch of seedlings. Hopefully we have like 90-95% of those seeds out of the cocoa. Since they did all look like they're popping while being soaked in the water, being in the growing medium should give them even better results by being very strong and have the actual nutrients to grow now. So until next time, happy growing everyone, and remember to get out there and make it happen.